Well, good news. In 2000 and 2001, the Chicago Climate Exchange received startup grants from a great place. Here, this is the Chicago Climate Exchange. Okay? They needed money. Where'd they find that money? The Joyce Foundation. Joyce sounds nice. Who is she? Well, she apparently has a lot of money. We don't know who gives her all the money because that's kind of secret stuff. That's private information, you know. By the way, the Joyce Foundation, bigger than the George Soros Tides Foundation. Yeah, it's kind of like that, but bigger. In fact, so big that the Joyce Foundation funds the Tides Foundation. If you don't know who the Tides Foundation is, look it up or refer back to an earlier episode. They also give money to, well, John Ayers, Bill Ayers' brother. Remember Bill Ayers? Yeah. Definitely not a friend of Barack Obama. Doesn't know him. Definitely nowhere near Barack Obama. Joyce Foundation gives money to John Ayers, Bill's brother. Think of the Joyce Foundation as a place where the uber-rich and powerful liberals dump their money so they can spread their cash around to their pet projects without any kind of direct link. Kind of, if it were The Sopranos, money laundering. But this is definitely not The Sopranos. There was one influential member on the board, I don't have it, one influential member on the board of the Joyce Foundation, this company. Very influential. At the time the Chicago Climate Exchange was created. And he made sure that they got the money. Okay? Made sure that they're steering the funds towards the creation of the Chicago Climate Exchange. This guy was on the board from 1994 to 2002. In fact, the founder of the Climate Exchange, this guy, Edward Sandor, said that he knew this, Richard Sandor, he knew this person very, very well, which is perhaps how the money got to the Kellogg Graduate School of Management, where Sandor was a research professor. But I'll get back to this person in a minute. Sandor saw big things, big things. This is going to be big, America. How big is the climate exchange market? I'll let him tell you.
How big, ultimately, do you think this market could be?
I think it's a $10 trillion a year market.
Say that again?
$10 trillion a year.
You don't get a hat like that for beans. You just don't do it. $10 trillion a year. That's a lot of capital go around. In comparison, the value of U.S. company shares on major U.S. and foreign stock exchange equities market, $15 trillion. Got it? 10, and they're selling smoke. There's a lot of money riding on this climate legislation, but remember, it's about saving the earth. It is. Now, this company, London-based Generation Investment Management, sees $10 trillion. We got to get into that. The earning potential is fantastic. That's why they purchased a stake in the Chicago Climate Exchange. They're the 5th largest co-owner of the Climate Exchange. Got it? Joyce Foundation, Tides, Bill Ayers' brother, Mystery Meat. This guy helps funnel the money to Climate Exchange. This guy says it's worth $10 trillion. This company over in England says $10 trillion. We've got to get some of that, me blokes. And so they're the 5th largest owner. You know who's on this? It's incredible because this is great. I was shocked. Al Gore. Al Gore. When I say co-founder, some of the other founders is this guy. You know, names aren't important. Well, it's David Blood, and he works for Goldman Sachs. That's the important part. Peter Harris, I don't have a picture of him, but he works for Goldman Sachs. And then there's also Mark Ferguson, and he works for Goldman Sachs. Okay? Now, 2006 comes along. Climate Exchange gets a boost of confidence when somebody steps out of the shower and says, my gosh, I think you may be onto something. 2006, remember that date. They say, we've got to purchase some of this ourselves. 10% of the company. You never guess who it was. Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs. Yeah. But we haven't gotten to the good stuff yet. Yeah. We'll get to that in just a minute. Left the Glenn Beck program, here's where we left off. We're trying to fix the evil ones, Goldman Sachs in Washington, with regulation that will be the cornerstone of a global government. Isn't that great? So Goldman Sachs is the trouble. But here's the good news. We've also discovered today that we can save the planet with money. It's fantastic. Remember, through regulation, right there, that big stack of paper, through regulation in Cass Sunstein, the Goldman Sachs people will be taught a lesson, not these because they're currently working for Obama, and then we'll save the planet with Al Gore. Here's where we left off. The Joyce Foundation, kind of a shadowy organization where liberals take their money and then they give it to the Joyce Foundation. The Joyce Foundation can give it to anybody they want, and the people who donated to the Joyce Foundation don't have to have their names attached to it. They donate to the Tides Foundation, also to the John Ayres Education Fund. John Ayres is the brother of William Ayres. You remember the bomber? Yeah. This guy, shadowy figure, is on the board of the Joyce Foundation. He helps start and funnels the money to CCX, the Chicago Climate Exchange, where the head guy of the Chicago Climate Exchange says it's worth $10 trillion. Well, that gets this English company very interested. They're the 5th largest owner of CCX. Who are they? Al Gore and some of his former Goldman Sachs buddies. And then steps in 2006, Goldman Sachs to buy another 10%. Got it? You see what we're building here? Structure. Structure, the exchange. You've got all the structure, the players. But what you're missing are a couple of things. You're missing, first of all, I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. Remember him? Missing him. We need a global climate bill. And he's sad. Someday he could become a law. Now, the other piece that they don't have is technology. They need the big board, the machinery to make it all happen. Because remember, you're trading smoke. So it's kind of hard to keep track of all that smoke. Good news is, though, the bill's being worked on now by Republicans and Democrats, bipartisan. It's cap and trade. The machinery, the machinery's there. A patent for the device was worked on by CO2e.com CEO Carlton Bartels. After he filed for his patent on his system to trade residential carbon credits, he was killed in the 9/11 attacks. But his wife shopped the idea around, able to find a buyer for it. Well, a buyer ended up being a guy who, I hate to break it to you, not a good guy. Oh, he's committed massive accounting fraud, manipulated earnings on his company in order to make huge bonuses. Yeah. But he didn't really go to jail or anything because, well, he's Franklin Raines, and he's got a lot of buddies. He was the CEO of Fannie Mae at the time. Fannie Mae and Franklin Raines, this guy's a shady individual, and Fannie Mae, didn't they cause all the trouble? Weren't they involved in all the mortgage problems? Yeah. They actually bought the technology. Fannie Mae, what would Fannie Mae buy this technology for? What? Aren't they a mortgage company? Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? By the way, here's another weird coincidence. The U.S. Patent and Trade Office okayed that patent on November 7th, 2006. What happened on November 6, 2006? The Democrats took control of Congress. Just a coincidence. We want to thank Barbara Hollingsworth of the Washington Examiner for pointing this out to us when we gave her a jingle. So, now,